Good afternoon. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to a BW Dialogue in association with BW Disrupt and BW Wellbeing. Today we have a multifaceted personality, a friend, somebody I met almost 20 years back, and he looks exactly like he used to look 20 years back. No wonder, he's been able to write books. This is his second book. Let me welcome an entrepreneur, a spiritualist, and an author, Alok Kejriwal, to the BW Dialogue. Welcome, Alok. How have you been in the last 200 days? How have been the last 200 days for you personally and professionally?
Yeah, so thank you, Anurag. It's such an honor and privilege to be with you. As you said, 20 years and counting. And it feels like I met you in your Connaught Place office like just yesterday. I still remember some of your first employees. I'm still in touch with them. So it just kind of tells me about what brand you have built, because we still talk about you. And you may not be in touch with your ex-employees, but I am. So it's amazing. Anurag, the last 6 months, 7 months, actually, and this might sound a little cruel to say this loud, but to be honest, they've been very good for us, both at the company level as well as at the personal level. It's been, of course, digital and gaming has boomed because people have started spending a lot of time indoors. So naturally, anything that was a digital business natively has only kind of blossomed. But I would rather take this opportunity to say that a lot of introspection has happened. A lot of people who were not able to be with their own minds, and I was just telling a colleague of yours before we came live that the challenge and the opportunity is that people who've never spent time with their minds have had to do that now over long periods of time. If you're trained to be a little bit of a meditator or a contemplator, even if I use a milder word, then the period has been okay and it's been good depending on how you leverage it. But if you're restless and you want to keep on doing things, then the period has been kind of tough. So mota moti, for us it's been great, and also I must share, we've got about 200 people in our companies, and a lot of them were paying to travel to these offices that we had in Bombay. You know how Bombay travel can be. We've got rid of all that. So we've got work for home forever. So, I hate to say this, but in a way it's been a blessing. And in a way, of course, we've also relearned everything.
Thank you, Alok. Alok, today we're talking to you in the context of your book. And for our viewers, I want to show this. It's called The Cave, an internet entrepreneur spiritual journey. Alok, you're known to do धंधे की बात. ये आप केव की बात कैसे कर रहे हैं?
So यार, अनुराग जी, I am a spiritualist and a capitalist. मतलब ये right brain left brain को छोड़ो, मैं तो बोलता हूँ 2 brain है. And I think
मेरे पास एक brain है और आपके पास 2 है. ये तो देखिए digital divide या brain divide हो गया. But jokes apart, go on.
So I think this is essentially the question that you ask is essentially the message of the book, that there are no two worlds. It's one world, it's one mind, it's one human. And you can thrive, immensely if you can merge or be, comfortable being a spiritualist alongside being a materialist. For example, some of the greatest entrepreneurs in the world, and I'm counting Steve Jobs, I'm counting all the people we know, they're all meditators. They all have mindfulness on their mind. Now, some of them are in the closet, some of them have come out. But spirituality as a tool and technique for enhancing your personal and professional life has always been around. I think now people are understanding it and coming to terms with it. पहले क्या होता था अनुराग जी, people used to say, अरे वो साधु संत बन गया, भाग गया, आश्रम में चला. It was like a defeatist tag. If the guy couldn't achieve anything, in fact, I was telling my wife that a lot of people say, I'll go to the Himalayas. Boss, try going there. The Himalayas are tougher than living in Bombay and Delhi. It's not easy. So coming back to the point, I've always been like this. And in the book, I share about how I grew up with my Nana Nani who were deeply spiritual and religious. So I was obviously molded by them. But to be honest, Anurag, it's a period of, it's a self-discovery that we all have opportunities to discover. Some do it faster than others, that's all.
Thank you, Alok. And you clearly say in the book also that I thrive as a capitalist and a spiritualist. I am as comfortable in a Himalayan cave as I am in a corporate boardroom.
Yep.
And I think that's a good state. It's about balance. It's about a bit like music. At some stage, you like a certain kind of music because you're in a certain contemplative mood, and at some stage, you have high energy and you like a different kind of
Right.
music. That's when I was reading your book. That's the sense I got. Now, your first book was very popular. Again, it had a very catchy title, and Why I Stopped Wearing My Socks. Why did you go to the cave? Tell us, in the book you talk about your spiritual journey, how
Right.
you started, how you met your masters or spiritual guides.
Correct.
Give us
Lovely.
a sense of how the book came about.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Anurag, for this opportunity again. So, from the very beginning, I've been like a spiritual hippie. Trying to go. एक मारवाड़ी में कहावत होती है ना, बहुत कुआं का पानी पिया है मैंने, which way I've gone to many wells to find out what well is right for me. Eventually, I found from the age of 10 or 12, I was always interested because and I don't want to repeat myself, I was molded by my grandparents. But having said that, my first real life shock, right, came when I started working. Like all of us, our bubbles burst when we get into the real world. And I had a major problem with my father's business, with my uncles. Then again, I had a conflict in my .com business, a .com period that you are very familiar with, 2019 and 2000. So at that time, right, everybody who goes through conflict looks for a solace. Now, unfortunately, sometimes the solace can be drugs or drinking or other bad habits. Luckily for me, because I was in touch with a little bit more of a wider circle, someone said, why don't you take to doing a meditation course? And that thing led to something deeper, and I started meditating regularly. Fast forward to the question, the cave was not a planned, kind of a template at all. It just was something that came into my life because of an ad on Facebook. So sometimes ads work, and I'm thankful to Facebook for having ads. And I chanced to go there. But after that visit, all things started rushing back into my head. I had read Autobiography of a Yogi when I was 14. To be honest, all of us in India have that book in our house. That orange colored book is there. Everyone has grandfather or grandmother has got it. And it all snapped into place. Now, Anurag, to answer the most important question, why the book, right? I could have done all this on my own and, enjoyed myself. I became a teacher of the art of living about 4 years back, and my wife did 5 years back. And eventually we have come to a realization that, unless you share what has helped you, what is the purpose of life? The purpose of life in my view is to help others. Getting rich and getting famous and all that is okay. But to be really honest, I feel that is the real purpose of life. And in that endeavor, the book is one simple, noble attempt कि भैया कितने लोगों को मिल सकती है book, आप पढ़ो and maybe you improve your life. So this is just to share and to make you feel that you can improve whatever situation you are in versus what you are struggling with.
Thank you, Alok. Since I know you and I also am connected with you, and I know the day you became the Art of Living teacher, you did post a very deep thought, and you expressed your gratitude for becoming a teacher to your guru and to the universe. So I understand it was an important moment for you. Now, let me shift the focus a little bit to the times that we live in.
Yeah.
The word VUCA was possibly invented for the last 7 months. Tell us, what have been your top lockdown lessons? I know you put them in the book, and I would encourage everyone to read the book, because while you're an internet entrepreneur, which is about connectivity, which is about being in the play, the book is about disconnecting. I read a chapter which talks about helping somebody every day, somebody you don't know, somebody you'll never meet, doing an act of kindness. And again, your book is structured in a way where there is an observation and then there is an exercise. So there is a takeaway and there is a experiential part of it, so to say. So tell us, what are your top lockdown lessons in the last 7 months?
Right. I think one of the biggest lockdown lessons is to develop the art of being comfortable with yourself. So many people that I come across, maybe my employees or colleagues or maybe friends, social media, everyone suddenly is beginning to ask whether they are comfortable with themselves. And it's such a strange question. what happened, Anurag, was before COVID, we were distracted by so many things around us. We never got that ability to question, are we happy the way we are? Am I happy being Alok Kejriwal? And to be honest, the answer is yes. You have to be comfortable with yourself because that is what our gift is. We are unique and
you don't have a choice also.
बिल्कुल. But Anurag, मैं तो और कुछ बोलता हूँ, like fingerprints are unique in the world, so are you. Why should I be like someone else, right? Why should my fingerprint?
I echo your sentiment. I keep saying that everybody else is taken. Be yourself.
क्या बात है? Beautiful. So I think one of the biggest lessons has been for people to say, listen, I am who I am. My limitations are what I am, and I'm comfortable. That's been a big takeaway. The other one is also, to be honest, I think time with people who matter, right? Most of us who have now got locked down are with family. Now, everyone may have had skirmishes and changes and differences, but at the end of the day, they are the ones that are closest to you. So, पहले तो क्या होता था? We were all running away, यहाँ वहाँ with people. Now you've got time. So, a lot of relationships have got rewired, I think positively, because all that deficit of time has been taken up by this. And I think the third thing now, Anurag, is your work, right? I mean, we all know that work never stopped. I mean, work has got better, productivity has increased. So a lot of the fake tools and strategies of work have been eliminated, right? I have to go to meet a client face to face. Sales has to happen in a pub or a bar. वो सब खत्म हो गई बात. So I think the fakeness and the fluffiness of the real world has got exposed. Now, unfortunately, that has not helped a lot of people whose business model was, to create a pomp and show, to do something. But at the end of the day, that is what reality is. So a lot of people are realizing the truth behind the charade, as I call it. There is a truth behind the charade. And we will all recover from it and uncover it. But it's all for the better. Now, the last part, which is really interesting, I'll give you an example of how the mind. So Anurag, forever I said, I am, because I live in Bombay and the race course is really next to me, I run at the race course. It's beautiful, right? It's soft ground. And Anurag, I swore, मैंने कसम ले ली कि यार road running ना ये सब मेरे लिए नहीं है यार, मेरी knees खराब हो जाएंगी ये. अब तो COVID has come. What do I do? So I started running on Pedder Road, which is where I live. Now I have not only run 2x more, actually 2.5x more, but I'm also running 2.5x times more. And I'm very comfortable. So what I have learned, and a lot of people have learned, is that everything is possible if you put your mind to it. And health, which is the most important thing that we used to always forget, has taken, I hope, has taken center stage for many of these, for many of us, and we realize how badly we were doing. So I think it's good. It's a good shake up.
Thank you, Alok. I fully agree with you that one. I think less is more. We know what are essentials, and they can really help us do what we want to do. In fact, being in the moment when I'm talking to you, I'm fully focused on you. I'm not looking at a phone.
Absolutely.
I'm not doing anything else. I think it helps you do much more than when you try and do a little more things than. Second, you're right. At the end of the day, I spent 3.5 months with my parents, which is invaluable.
Absolutely.
I got married 20 years back and I haven't spent that much time with my parents since then. Third, you're right. The limits are in our mind. The limits are what we impose on ourselves. If we focus and if we are determined, we can achieve anything. And most importantly, you said about health. I think health was always important. I think health has come into a bigger focus. So keeping yourself healthy, immune, and healthy both in terms of a physical self and a mental well-being, letting your emotions again, emotions are okay. We will have emotions. We can express them, but we shouldn't be controlled or, led by them. I mean,
that's right.
To say that you will have no emotion, I don't think that's possible. Now, let me come to the book specifically, Alok. Now, I love the book. It's a very simple name. And you talked about that you were separated from your parents at birth and you were raised under the loving care of Nana Nani. Tell us, what have been your life-altering events? If you had to talk about 3 life-altering events, what would those be?
Right. So thank you for that direct segue, and I'm happy, Anurag, you liked it. The first, life-altering event was essentially the introduction to to pain. Basically, when I came across a kind of situation that I could not handle. See, from school and college is all rosy, right? At the most you get bad marks, and that's okay. The next exam you can do well. But what happens when someone tells you to kind of get lost in life? And I share that incident in the book, which was in my family business. And family businesses are supposed to be protective, but family businesses can be nasty. That is what joint family is all about. It's the most unwritten and hidden truth of Indian businesses. So when I got that, tight slap on my face, ki, yaar, we don't care about you and get lost. I was in such a deep shock. So I prayed from the bottom of my heart. And that prayer got answered. So it was my first miracle. Ki, yaar, ye kaise ho gaya? And that miracle ko samajhne mein bhi took me time. Not that I was not that Einsteinish to get it instantly. But that was my first incident. The second one was the ability to have a technique, which was the Kriya for me, to control my mind, or to, let me rephrase it, to improve my mental state, right? Like, for example, Anurag, we all know, however bad the day is, right? The day may be really good, the day may be very bad. Once you hit your bed and you sleep, most probably the next day things are better.
Always.
Right? That's why we say, let me sleep over it if things are very bad. So what does it mean? Sleep is a technique to make your life better. Now, you can't sleep in the middle of the day, but you can meditate in the middle of the day. So meditation was my second trigger point, which said, yaar, there is a tool, there is a technique. But the third was sharing. And it's a story in the book called the Two Cups, where, once, like Anurag, you, me, and between you and me, we know the top 200 entrepreneurs of India, digital entrepreneurs, by the back of our hand. We have got so much from the internet and from the Indian industry that we cannot ask for more. But the point is, boss, do we all feel fulfilled? And that lacking that I felt, which resulted in me sharing my knowledge. And like you said, I've been writing books and blogs. When I began to share, and I got a high that I had not got from anything else, including money. यार बस मारवाड़ी के लिए पैसा बनाना बहुत बड़ा हाई होता है, but मुझे तो जो sharing में high मिला, that was something totally different. So, getting a thappad, getting a technique, and getting a high by sharing were the three most profound moments in my life.
Thank you so much. Now you talk of two dreams. You talk of Baba of Puri. You talk of Banke Bihari's magic.
Yeah.
You talk of Hanumanji. So where does religion and spiritualism in your life kind of come together? Give us a sense from these chapters and, larger point. Last night when we were preparing, I read out the poem you've written, or the prayer you've written. So you're very religious. And, religion has to be expansive. It has to be liberating. It cannot be restrictive. Tell us a sense of what is religion for you.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've purposely put these, gods and prayers in the book at the early part, because again, Anurag, I want to make people come out of the closet. लोग छुपकर पूजा करते हैं, लोग छुपकर हनुमान जी को याद करते हैं. Why? If you can be public about it, what's the big deal? We say, oh God, Christ, though we say when we are in trouble, we say, oh, Jesus. So what does Jesus mean? If you're calling him in a moment of pain, why not remember in a moment of happiness? So that's one. Now, to be honest, spirituality...
Kabir said, Sukh mein sumran jo kare, to dukh kahe ko hai.
Correct.
By the way, as Alok, I don't know if you noticed, just behind me. So this is my work area. It's
really?
A large, and but behind me is my temple, the work area.
I can see that.
And I'm very proud of that.
Perfect.
And anyone who has faith in any religion, or even if you're atheist and you believe in the universe, that's fine. We respect that. But yes, I do for a long time carried a Hanuman Chalisa in my pocket, and that's my faith. And again, faith can move miracles. And I attribute whatever little I've achieved to the universe. But we're talking about you. So give us stories from these three chapters: Two Dreams, Baba of Puri, and Banke Bihari's magic.
Right.
We'll come to the Kriya, which you already mentioned.
Of course. So the Two Dreams is a very interesting capture of two dreams that I dreamt when I was 12 and 13, and I never understood them. Now, we all have dreams, and we will continue to have dreams, and not that the dreams really matter, But the chapter is all about how sometimes the human mind is so beautifully engineered that you can get a glimpse of what you may be going to encounter or going to, kind of get just by being a little aware. So when these dreams, I had a dream of Krishna and a dream of, now I realize it was, Jai Mata Di, which is a Vaishnav Devi. And I didn't know that till for so many more years. So eventually, when my wife told me that, Alok, the second dream is all about you actually going to Vaishnav Devi. And honestly, Anurag, I'll share this with you. Bombayites, na, हमें Vaishnav Devi, Punjabis are very, very active. Delhi is a huge Vaishnav Devi culture. But Bombay is split. Bombay में बहुत south में लोग जाते हैं, they go to Tirupati, they do a lot of other stuff. So for me, it was like, wow, I didn't even know of the temple. So that chapter is about how something was revealed to me way before it happened. And the takeaway is that you have to just be open-minded, because all our minds are the same. So sometimes, what do we call intuition? Intuition ये होती है, यार मुझे पता ही होने वाला है, but जब हो जाता है, then you don't realize that it could have been to your advantage. The Baba of Puri is very interesting. This is about my aversion to holy men, and a lot of people in India, correctly so, have an aversion to all these saffron-clad, white-clad, dadi wale, Baba log. And that is fine, because everyone's action is not in their control. But for me, it was a great learning to see how someone I met for a few hours in my home and whom I despised became someone I began to seek so badly that I had to travel all the way from Bombay to Jagannath Puri to meet him. And that kind of made me realize that, judging people by their demeanor, by their face, by their behavior is very, very poor. It's a very shallow way of judging people. Heart is the way to judge people. How genuine are you?
And not generalize, not stereotype.
That's right.
Most of the, religious leaders have let us down. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But there are very selfless and nurturing gurus who really kind of make up for the ones that have not done justice to their purpose.
So that was it. Sorry, Anurag, I forgot the third chapter that you mentioned.
Third was about the Banke Bihari's message.
Yeah. Now, Banke Bihari is very popular. Everyone knows Banke Bihari. I went to the temple when I was little, and how temples are for so many of us. They suddenly uplift you, they suddenly touch you. So the focus for me is Banke Bihari because it helped me. But the message is, indulge. Don't feel shy. Don't feel कि अरे मैं को temple में कैसे जाऊँ? मैं तो यार technology CEO हूँ. It's all okay. Everyone does everything. Just make it a cocktail. Doesn't matter. Leave your ego behind. Leave your laptop behind and be yourself. Because sometimes in areas of collective energy and collective prayer, magic happens. It's very simple. That's why, you go to a church. Here's a guarantee. Any of us go to a church and sit down. I challenge you will never feel disturbed or perturbed, because the place is so peaceful. So the larger message is, go to places of peace. Now, Banke Bihari temple is not always peaceful. Kafi mayhem hoti rehti hai wahan par. But theek hai yaar, that's what I like. People might like something else. So it's just places of worship are not taboo is the larger message.
Alok, I've known you for a while, and I'm a very religious person.
Right.
I do go to a lot of temples. All the temples you mentioned, I've been to them.
Of course.
And I'm a temple traveler. I even thought of a show that I go to all the temples and I'll kind of just bring those temples for Indians. And I talk to a Hindi channel.
Wow.
And so have you and me never talked about temples.
Yeah.
But maybe next time I meet you, we should talk about temples.
100%.
And one thing I like about you is you are genuinely comfortable with yourself. And you're very authentic. You poured your heart out. Even in the title of these chapters, to put it as it is. I think the authenticity of the book and the simplicity of the book makes it a compelling read. Now, you talked about the magic of Kriya. Breath is everything.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of how having the right breath can help you do better in every walk of life.
Perfect. So just 2 data points that will shock people. 90% of our toxins of our body are actually expelled by the breath. We never realize that. 90%. It's not sweat or anything else. And we only use 20 to 30% of our lung capacity. Now the point is that the breath and pranayama, right? The whole idea of directing the prana. Prana is life force energy. Yama is a technique or tool. Has been around for ages. Yoga has been around for ages. What has happened, Anurag, is that old ancient practices were very obtuse, were very hard. The kriyas of the earlier masters, including Kriya Yoga of Babaji, to take a few hours to do. And the good news is that today's contemporary gurus have packaged it and made it so easy, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that you can get the greatest gifts of the universe in 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of practice. So Kriya is nothing but a technique. And that different teachers have different Kriyas, all named separately, but eventually it means the same thing. I learned that 20 years ago, and I've done it every day, Anurag. For 20 years, I've been doing the Kriya every day. And you know what? How do I know it's benefited me? By the experiences I've had. My addictions have gone away. I'm not a calm person, but I'm calmer than what I would have been if I had not done Kriya, right? And I think, Anurag, both you and me, I think we both will pat each other on the back that to sustain and to survive in an internet-driven era for 20 years was living 200 years. You know that. अपने सामने कितने लोग आए और गए. So I think because I saw the manifestation of the benefits in my life, I became more and more addicted to it. And eventually it became something that I wanted to share in the world. So Kriya is that. It's just using the breath to further yourself.
Tell us a story about the shutters on the beach.
Oh my God, that's incredible. It's a beautiful hood. Have you been to Santa Monica? I'm sure you've been, Anurag. But next time you go there. So it's a...
Not into that.
Okay. So as the story tells, I went to Los Angeles literally like just a sidey guy. And then I came across this beautiful hotel. And in my mind, right, again, what I focus on the word, very naive, very heartfelt prayer or even wish. Prayer to chodo, wish. अरे यार कौन रहता होगा यहाँ पर? It's literally like that. कि who must be staying in this beautiful hotel? And a year later, I was in that hotel and I was a guest of IBM. So the lesson of that story is don't hold your heart for wishes. Yeah, I see Ambani's building from my house every day. Now I don't say कौन रहता होगा वहाँ पर. I know who stays there. But ठीक है यार, we can also have a wish and it can come true. So that's the lesson.
Miracles happen and prayers are answered.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
If you visualize and you have,
that's right.
Belief in your own visualization,
right,
those things happen. Now let's go to the Indian School of Business and let me welcome you to the party. Tell us about these two chapters.
Yeah, again, very incredible. I didn't want to I had almost missed my flight, but my wife said something which even today she says she never told me. She said, Alok, from the airport I called and said, I'm going to miss my flight to Hyderabad. ISB panel tha, Anurag, theek hai yaar, some panels you miss. She said, jo kaam karne ke liye kare ho, wo do it and come back. Don't come back otherwise. This is very rare for someone to tell you something so strange. So I went and I met a VC of all. Now imagine I'll just bring it down to a nutshell. Imagine going to a city which is not yours, going to a college or a school which you have never been to. Imagine meeting a VC you have never met, and that VC trying to do a games funding in the world or in India, which you are empowered to do, all happening together in one stroke. It's incredible. So essentially, when things have to happen, they happen. My message in the book is the universe keeps gifting us miracles. It is the benevolent nature of the universe. Universe का काम ही है. It's the greatest Santa Claus in the world. चलो यार, हम तो gift देते चले जाएंगे आपको. आपके ऊपर होता है whether you can accept it or not. So I got a gift and it's changed my life. That's what I do. Games to Win is born out of that one single meeting in ISB.
Alok, for you to kind of acknowledge that is itself big. Now, the most interesting chapter is the Tale of Two Cups. Give us the Tale of Two Cups. Let our readers and viewers hear from you about the Tale of Two Cups.
Right. Very interesting. So the first one was, when I was in, because my company that got funded was someone that was associated with Deepak Chopra, and I heard him in California. And he said something very strange about how when I show you, like if I show you a cup, you held a blue cup in front of us, and he said, how do you see it? And I'll take a minute to explain what's part of the book. He explained in minute detail how light travels from the cup into the eye and so on and so forth. His meta point was that, Alok or whoever was listening, that everything that happens in life are a series of events, small events. And if you can peep or see between events, your mind can develop supernatural powers or intuitive powers, and things can happen. I found that fascinating as a concept, but very hard to understand. Now, when I'm talking to you, how can I peep between events? I'm just seeing things happen. And then later on, a couple of years later, when I felt nothing was in my life, nothing was giving me a high. I was like flat. This goes there, a flat line ho gayi happiness. So then one of my Art of Living teachers said, Alok, share, give. And she said, your cup is full. So Deepak Chopra said blue cup. She said cup is full. I said, oh my God, 2 cups. And that changed my life. So it basically became a trigger point for me to share and to give. But Anurag, can I take 30 seconds more on the seeing part? It's very interesting. So when Deepak Chopra said that, you can actually observe events as they happen, I found it impossible. About 2 years ago, I read research by Cambridge, which said that the common fly that sits at home, if you notice when you swat a fly or try to swat a fly, God forbid, it usually escapes. It doesn't come into your hand. And what they realize is that the eye of the fly can see your hand move 8 times in detail versus your human eye. So the eye of the fly sees the hand like a matrix effect, tock, 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 like the bullet in the matrix, which therefore tells be perceived by 2 people differently at the same time. And that is what Deepak Chopra was trying to say.
Thank you so much. By the way, Alok, I've read every book of Deepak Chopra. I've read every book on spirituality.
Wow.
And I'm glad I read your book. I want to tell you a small story which is not related 100% to what you're saying.
Sure.
But, it is said that in Olympics, typically the bronze medalists are always more happy than the silver medalists. You know why? Because the silver medalist always rue the fact that they didn't get the gold. But the bronze medalist always is grateful that, I could have finished 4th, but thank God I'm a bronze medalist. So it's about it's a research. And Prakash Iyer, who's a BW columnist and author, has written about it.
Wow.
So, it's about perspective and it's about gratitude. We have to be grateful for just being living today, just being able to experience every day. And I think you've written about gratitude in your blog. I think it's the gratitude is very, very powerful. Now, I could go through all the chapters. I want to ask you a term that you invented, Kiko. Did you invent that?
Yep, I think so. I hope so.
Knowledge, because I haven't heard it before.
Yeah.
Knowledge in, knowledge out. Explain to us what that means.
It's very simple. It's inspired from GIGO, which we both know, garbage in and garbage out, which is basically if you feed something.
Hope you're not referring to Donald Trump.
No, it's a technology term in computers where basically if you write bad code, then bad code comes out. Kiko is knowledge in, knowledge out. It's very simple, Anurag. The more knowledge you gain, the more knowledge you can use to live your life, which is the more knowledge you can give out. And therefore, knowledge is it, right? No, without knowledge, what's the difference between us who are doing this call and unfortunate people who never got an education? They don't have knowledge. They are unfortunate.
And experience. Knowledge through experience.
Perfect. So you've just killed it. So knowledge is stuff that we learn, stuff that we experience. But I've introduced a 3rd dimension, which is spirituality. And my point in the book is that spirituality is a dimension of knowledge which you cannot get by going to a university or by meeting people. The unique thing about spirituality is that it's an experiential learning knowledge technique. So the minute you experience a master, the minute you experience bliss, even if you experience 5 minutes of nothingness, that is knowledge. So basically, if you can imbibe as much knowledge in your life as possible from various sources, and spirituality being an important source, that much more knowledge you can live your life with. And that is what makes life very beautiful. I just want to give one 30-second point here. If you realize, if you kind of track Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger's entire life, they read probably 10 hours a day. And they've both said that we don't read finance, we read anthropology, we read zoology, we read everything.
History.
Anurag, history. And what they do, Anurag, is they use knowledge. So if you read all of Warren Buffett's quotes, they all are knowledge points, yaar. Investment to baat ki baat hai. It's all about knowledge in and knowledge out. So I think how to get knowledge is the problem, and we can't get it only from one source. Spirituality is a beautiful source.
Now, I want you to connect your धंधे की बात to spirituality की बात.
Yes.
मुझे बताइए कि इस पे connect कैसे है, and how can you strike that balance? Is there a playbook to being in the cave?
It's a fantastic question. It's absolutely relevant, Anurag. I'm telling you, if your fundas, if your compass is very clear, if your spiritual quotient, SQ becomes something that is worthwhile, all the decisions you make in your personal and professional life, whether you do dhanda, whether you do a job, are enhanced. You don't do foolish things, you don't do impetuous things, you don't do things which are impulsive. And most importantly, Anurag, you do things which your heart tells you is something that you want to be on the right side of. I'll give you an example, and maybe people will agree, people will not agree. In gaming now, Anurag, now real money gaming is a big thing. You put money into a game and you get money out. As a spiritualist, I feel that that's not something I want to be associated with. It's a kind of quality of gameplay where क्या होता है ना, किसी को दुख पहुंचता है. If you take two people, put money together, one wins, one doesn't win. तो किसी को तो दुख होने वाला है. It's a filter. So धंधे की बात is a beautiful derivative of being a spiritual or spirituality की बात, because you just do better things. That's all.
And there is a common shared wisdom.
Absolutely.
And I believe that being in the cave can lead to being better at business. That's what I really believe. And I want to talk to you about something I talked to you last night. I asked you, I read your book, and at that time I'd only kind of glanced through it. And, sometimes in life, we all have experiences where things haven't worked out as we planned. You talk about it in the book. I don't call it failure, but Randy Pausch said experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And I really believe in it. How do you've written extensively about it? How do you deal with failures? How do you forgive yourself? And second question I asked you, is the playbook to forgiving others? When people do wrong and then they kind of point finger at you instead of being how to forgive them. It's not easy. How does one do it?
So it's very hard question, Anurag, and let me go it sequentially. One is, it's very hard to forget and to forgive. बहुत easy है बोलना, but not easy to do. To forget mistakes are even harder. Our brain is hardwired to win. We don't like to lose. From the very early time, I don't remember any teacher in my school saying, wow, you got 3 on 10, so I'm going to clap for you. They always said, if you don't get 10 on 10, you're a fool. So it's not possible to suddenly acclimatize yourself to start losing and feeling happy. It's when you get defeat, you have to. There's no other alternative. We can't jump out of windows to solve that. The second part, which is the forgiveness, right? So first you forgive yourself and then you learn to forgive others. I have not learned to forgive others. Let me make a public confession, which is why that chapter doesn't exist in my book. I have still to overcome that. That is my journey, which I'm still on the path of, because, like all of us, we expect people and situations to be the way we want them. And when they don't, especially people, then you feel very disappointed. But at least forgiving yourself, I think it's a function of age, Anurag, and it's also a function of meeting and being with the right people who teach you how to overcome we are too hard on ourselves. That's why the French are so much fun, right? They have fun with themselves. I think we take ourselves too seriously. So one beautiful part about spirituality is the maza, that lightness. ठीक है यार, सब कुछ है, कल हो जाएगा.
Anand.
That's
joy, That's, by the way, joie de vivre, the French, which is the joy of just being.
Absolutely. एब्सोल्युटली. तो यहाँ तो यार इंटरनेट कनेक्शन 1 मिनट के गया और एकदम मूड ऑफ हो जाता है, राइट? और लोगों को खाना नहीं मिलता है 2 दिन के लिए, एंड दे आर फाइन. सो आई थिंक if you spend time in the company of, so why the cave, right? When I go to the cave is not just some cave in the Himalayas. I walk a path of a kilometer. I see village people. I see one person. One guy is very happy taking one satchel on the danda and going from one place to the other. And I wonder, I said, what a beautiful day, यार. मेरी डे में तो 12 तो कॉल हैं, 24 ईमेल्स हैं, पता नहीं क्या क्या कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हैं. ये बंदा तो खाली वो अपना झोली लेकर जा रहा है. You kind of realize that joy is in many things, and that is when you start to forgive and forget. But when I do forgive people, finally, then I'll write my third book on spirituality.
I'm sure it'll be and thank you for being so candid and honest. It's a very hard thing. One, to forgive yourself for some time, trusting people, seeing the goodness in people, and another day seeing that it wasn't true, and sometimes all of us pass through hard times.
Yeah.
How do you gracefully do your bit? You do your karma, because hard times don't last. They shall pass. I'm sure COVID shall too pass at some stage.
Of course.
I want to bring in Kavi Bhandari, who's a lead on well-being, and Kavi would like to ask you a question or two.
Hi, Kavi.
Hi, sir. Sir, you spoke of collective consciousness. Like, suppose you go to a church and you feel good energy. Do you feel that the more people get together and form like groups of collective consciousness, which is very positive, which I think you can experience through meditation also?
Yes.
So do you feel that people are gaining awareness about this collective consciousness, or is it still
That's a very good question. It's not really like satsangs and gatherings are not supposed to be fun things, Hare Krishna movement that started with ISKCON. I mean, you just go to a Hare Krishna temple as an atheist. So say, assume you're a non-believer. I challenge you to be in the courtyard and not feel happy, because there's something going on there. The singing and the dancing makes you happy. Forget that, Ravi. Kavi, sorry. Look at a rock concert. Why do you feel so happy in a rock concert? Because it's collective energy. The music is not being played for you, but the energy of the crowd makes you feel happy. Why does a stand-up comedy feel so much more fun watching it together versus watching it alone? Right? In fact, I'll give you one more tip. In comedy is when you're watching it on TV, they induce clapping and laughter as a background just to make you feel like it's collective. So in real life, we have already experienced collective energy, but in the spiritual life, we feel shy. अरे मेरे को देख लेंगे मंदिर में मैं गा रहा हूँ, बजा रहा हूँ. So we are still in that shadow of reality, but it's okay. Sooner than later, we will have to come back to finding happiness, and nothing better than finding spiritual happiness with like-minded people. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Sir, also...
Kavi, I just want to tell, I don't want to interrupt you, but Kavi, Alok, one of my biggest bucket list items is to sing bhajans well.
Beautiful.
I have never come out and said this. And when I was 12, 14 years, when there would be a Ramayana ka part at my home,
Kya baat hai?
I would be there every alternate day, or
Right.
whenever there was my birthday, my sister's birthday, and Sundarkand ka part hota tha.
Oh, beautiful.
बैठ करके रामायण और सुंदरकांड होता था.
Beautiful.
So, I have never talked about it, and I am a worldly person. I'm not saying that I don't have worldly desires, or I have not enjoyed the worldly material possessions. But I'm deeply, deeply religious, and that's what keeps me going in whatever stressful times.
Completely.
Even when I don't get outcomes that I want, I really believe in higher power and believe that Hanumanji is helping me, Lord Ganesh is helping me.
Sure.
All the gods are helping me. Anyway, back to Kavi.
Sir, just my second and last question. Do you believe in souls being reborn, the birth and death cycle? And also, do you believe in destiny, or that the soul chooses the path that it's going to take? And it chooses its parents, it chooses its experiences, then there's destiny. So there's also free will. So what would you like to say about all this together?
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know all these things. I do know that as you mature and grow from a small child to an adolescent to an adult, your free will begins to become better understood. if we behave ourselves today on this call, it's out of our free will. If I don't misbehave myself, it's my free will again. I'm consciously not behaving myself. But a child coming and interrupting me is not doing it out of that's her free will, right? So one is awareness of what will is grows. To be honest with you, Kavi, these are metaphysical questions which they have very deep, kind of learnings and theories. हमें क्या पता यार, हमें तो ये पता है कि बस when you live your life on a daily basis, help others, make yourself happy, and the world will be a happier place. That's all. So, if I meet Ramakrishna, Christ, and, every God in the gates of heaven, and they ask me, what did you do? My report card will be there. I'm sure every evaluation, अनुराग जी, OKR हो, KPI हो, KRA हो, सभी का वही होने वाला है कि भाई करा क्या तुमने हमारी लाइफ में. That doesn't matter. फिर where they send me is okay.
Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Alok, I want to ask you the last question.
Sure, sir.
Before I let you go. And for our viewers, if you want to revisit the conversation, go to the Business World YouTube page. It will also be in the next issue of Business World magazine, which we brought out every single issue. The current issue being a luxury issue. Also, it will be day after tomorrow on the businessworld.in site. So if you missed it today, you can revisit it. I just want to ask you, Alok, it's an unusual time. People are under stress, pressure, they're anxious about the future. What is your message to people which gives them hope?
Correct. That's a great question, Anurag. I think 3 things. One is just introspect and find out the source of unhappiness. Very often what we do is we feel unhappy but don't bother to go into the depth of that unhappiness. So it's a great time to find that out. The second thing is there are proven things that you can do irrespective of whatever situation you are to become a little bit happier. Meditation is one, eating and exercising is one. So boss, invest it to write a pencil, you have to sharpen it. So to live a better life, you have to be well, and well-being is mental and health. And the third thing I would say is get out of your comfort zone. Anyway, COVID has made us uncomfortable. So आप comfortable तो आप हो ही गए. So let's do something which is unconventional. Like in my case, whether it's reading or whether it's writing, because you need to discover new joys. Your old joys have gone away, which is why you feel sad. Discover new joys, and the new joys are there for you for your taking, but you have denied yourself new joys by being in a sad mood कि मेरे से कुछ छीन लिया गया. But छीन लिया तो आपको 2 चीज और दी गई हैं, उसको आप ले लो. That's my message.
Thank you so much. Alok, I said last question, but since you brought up reading, writing, apart from The Cave, in the last 6-7 months, what are the books that you've read or experienced that you would like to recommend to the reader?
Right.
Of
So
course,
thanks.
The Cave and
Yeah. So Anurag, as a writer, right, one thing I learned very early when I started writing is that a good writer reads double of what he writes. So I read a business book pretty much every alternate week, and I share that on my LinkedIn blog.
I read the reviews.
Yeah, and it's there on Goodreads also. So many of them, Cartier's, Copeland, lots of business books. My whole collection is there. So I just urge readers to go up there, and maybe I can also share it with you. So you can even publish it wherever you want as a collective kind of.
It's a good idea.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Alok.
Thank you.
On your journey. Congrats on your second book.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure it will help people discover a better themselves.
Thanks so much.
God bless you. It's a pleasure talking to you.